Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sarah Roberts and I'm an astronomer from Swansea University, and I'm here with my colleague Emma Ride, who's Director of Astro Cymru. And today we're going to be telling you in this short video about our exciting project Stardust Hunters. So this is an outreach project that's aimed at schools to get you into science, technology, engineering and maths. And it's a project that collaborates with, so we've got Swansea University, Oriel Science, National Botanic Garden of Wales and the National Museum of Cardiff, and we're funded by the Science and Technology Facilities Council. So in this presentation, in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the who, the what and the why of the Stardust Hunters project, and then Emma is going to be telling you about the where and the how. So how you can get involved finding your own stardust. So a little bit of background. So this is a picture of John Larsen, who's a jazz musician from Norway. And he actually started the hunt for stardust in urban places like towns and cities. So he was sitting outside in his garden one beautiful summer's morning in Oslo, and he noticed a black fleck suddenly appear on his table. And he thought to himself, well, that's interesting. What could that be? So he started looking into it and he found out that it was a bit of dust from space. Now, scientists knew that bits of dust from space used to come through the atmosphere every day. And they used to search for them in Antarctica and dredging the sea floor. And they thought that it was too difficult to find these specks from space in towns or cities. But John Larsen decided to prove them wrong, and prove them wrong he did. Since he started this about 12 years ago, he's found 3,000 bits of specks of dust from space. And this is what we want you to do with the Stardust Hunters project. So what are these little specks of dust from space? Well, here's a picture of some shooting stars. And if you've ever been lucky enough to see shooting stars, streaks of light in the sky, then you'll have seen bits of dust coming from space through the atmosphere and then possibly landing on the Earth. And this is what we are trying to find. Here's a picture of a little speck of dust from space. So the technical term for it's called a micrometeorite. So these tiny things land on the Earth and we want you to try and help find them. You can see that it's really, really small, so obviously going to be really difficult to find. So what we need to do is use special microscopes to see if we can find them. So here's a picture of a possible micrometeorite that I found in Swansea University grounds when I did some sweeping across the floor with a work experience student with a magnet. Emma will explain how to do this later. And when I just put this under just a normal microscope and I put my mobile phone on top to take the picture, what you can see there, the spherical object at the center is the potential bit of dust from space because they're always spherical. And then the other jaggedy bits are bits of dirt, basically, from the ground. Now, if you have very special microscopes, then these are the types of images that you can get. So some of these images were taken by John Larsen and his colleague in Norway. And this is what we'd like you to do. We'd like you to find these potential specks of dust from space, send them in to us at Swansea University, where we will look at them through special electron microscopes. And we won't just be able to take beautiful images like these of them, but we'll also be able to do an analysis on them to see whether they've come from space or whether it's a spherical object that's man-made, something that's created it on Earth, like fireworks or roof tiles or roadworks even. So why are we interested in these specks of dust? Well, it's thought that some of the dust that comes to the Earth from space actually is older than the birth of the solar system. So all the planets and comets and asteroids, it's thought that some of the dust comes from before that time. So if we can look at the analysis and the chemistry of these bits of dust, then that might tell us something about the early solar system. So if you're a school in Wales, then you can join in with our Stardust Hunters project, where we can send a toolkit out, which has a magnet, food bags, sieves and microscopes, everything you need to do your hunt. But I will pause there and I will stop sharing my screen and pass over to Emma, who will explain how you can get involved if you don't have one of these toolkits.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, so we need to find as many micrometeorites as possible and get them sent in to Swansea University to be analysed. Now we can find micrometeorites absolutely anywhere. We can look in our gardens, in our streets. We can also go to local parks to find them. All we need is a magnet. So I just use a normal magnet that you can get off your fridge. We also need a paintbrush, or a makeup brush is fine. And if you have a sieve handy, we can use a sieve as well. We also need a plastic pot. Now I like plastic pots with the lids on them, because when we do find micrometeorites and we pop them into the pot, we can then close the lid and keep them safe until we're ready to send them off. If you've got a magnifying glass or an eyepiece handy, then we will need one of these to separate the micrometeorites out from the pieces of dirt. So how do we find micrometeorites? So if we imagine that this is the surface, it could be your garden or on the pavements, we take our magnet and we hover as close as we possibly can, but try not to get the magnet onto the ground just in case we pick up too much dirt. Now, because these micrometeorites are magnetic, they will be attracted to your magnet. So once we've collected some pieces onto our magnet, we then take our paintbrush into our pot and we brush off the little pieces that we find into our pot. Once we've done that, if we can then take a nice white piece of paper or a white sheet onto a table, we pop everything we find into a sieve, and then we sieve out all the big pieces that could be dirt or rust off cars, that type of thing. And once we've got a nice white surface, because these micrometeorites will be like black in colour, we can then use our eyepiece or magnifying glass to search for the tiny spherical pieces. If they've got jagged edges on them, then they're more likely to not be micrometeorites. So we can separate them out and collect all the spherical pieces and then pop them into a bag. And then we can then, if you think that you've definitely got micrometeorite candidates, then we can send them off to Swansea University. And Sarah's going to tell you how to contact her and how to send your samples in.
Brilliant, thank you, Emma. So if you want to get involved with the Stardust Hunters project, then we would love to have you involved. You can email me at s.g.roberts@swansea.ac.uk, or you can go to the Stardust Hunters website, which is stardusthunters.org.uk, and have a look at the details in there, read about the project. My contact details will be in there, and we're looking forward to getting you involved. Thanks a lot.